You're going live. You're live. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Sai. I have the honor and zchus to have with me here in the online shliach office. See the online shliach office. I have the shliach, Rabbi Levi raices from Ukraine. I actually had the honor to hear him speak today in different schools and share some of his experience. I forgot to, when I introduced him, I wanted to say something. I forgot about it. We're about to celebrate Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Yalf Nisan, Pesach, it's all about Yetzias Mitzrayim. Us Americans, when we talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim, we have to find how is it applicable to us? Mitzrayim, Gvulim, he didn't have to think too much how Yetzias Mitzrayim was applicable to him, because he really made a Yetzias. And what the pasuk says, Ki barach ha'am, they ran. This man and his family ran out of Ukraine, ran out of Kharkov to safety. And David should bless him, bless the family, bless all the shluchim, all the yidden, safety. And so I asked him to stop by, and we'll have a shtickle discussion. Could you tell us a little about Yiddishkeit in Ukraine before this Mapecha had it? What was going on there? And I don't know if you can tell me about Ukraine. You tell me about your dalit on this. B, what did the Mapecha do, and how are you continuing your shlichus when you are in the Golden Medina? Rabbi raices, start with, how many years are you there?
28.
Koyach.
Yeah.
Koyach years. Koyach years you are in Baruch Hashem in Ukraine and Kharkov. When you came out there, what was your position? Obviously, a shliach. When we were in shlichus in Australia, we were told that shliach of alts kennen. We had a Rosh Yeshiva with an up hat, and we used to say, we're not saying names. We used to say, right now he's a mashpia, then he's a Rosh Yeshiva, then he's a plumber, then he whichever way you turn the hat, he was a shliach of alts kennen. So, but there was one particular thing that you say that you were most involved with. What was that?
The children from ages 10 to 16, we gave them a name, Yeshiva Tana. It's a special program, and we had for them special classes, and and it turned into a ma'aseh.
Now these children, they go to secular schools. Most of them, you didn't have a school for them.
See, 30 years ago, a Jewish school started in Kharkov. Rabbi Moshe Moskowitz started a Jewish school. Exactly 30 years ago.
And the government allows a Jewish school?
It's a government-funded Jewish school. If you want to use American terminology, it's a Jewish public school.
Really?
Yeah.
What was in it for them? Why did they suddenly allow a Jewish school? I mean, you always hear the scary stories.
Well, basically, because the Jews didn't have a place to call their own. So the government in those days, 30 years ago, they felt like they should do things for the Jewish people.
Yeah.
A lot of Jews were running to go to Israel as soon as the opportunity came, and maybe they wanted to, give something for you not to have to run. Maybe they wanted to, should encourage them to stay, and they gave back to shul. Then the shul started to work.
So your actually shul building is a shul that was from
yeah.
How old is that shul building?
Over 100 years,
for sure. I mean,
for sure.
So there's there a history. You know who what was it? Chassidim? What was it back there? How many years ago?
Actually, Kharkov was a city where Jews couldn't live before communism started. There was those cities that the Jews couldn't live unless they had a special permit. Kharkov was one of those cities. Couldn't just come live in Kharkov. Like in the stories from the Alter Rebbe, when they went to Petersburg, he needed a special document to go. It wasn't just because of traveling. There was cities in the times of the Tsar that were off limits for Jews unless you had a special permit, a special permission.
Why was Kharkov Zeichel for one of them? What's Kharkov known for? What's it?
It's officially a more high-level type of city. There's a lot of universities over there, and and it was one of those kind of cities. So, of course, it was full of Yidden. If there's a place where Yidden can come, and only you need to have a permit, the answer is there's a lot of Yidden.
How many Yidden are in Kharkov?
It's hard to say, but thousands and thousands of Yidden. But that's the history of Kharkov. One of those groups of people that had full permission to live in Kharkov was those that we know from the stories of the Kantonistan. The Yidden from Kantonistan, because they served in the Tsar's army, so they automatically had all kinds of special rights. And on the one hand, they were very simple, but they had a Yiddish neshama. And but later, as the years went on, so they were usually they could do business. They have less limits than other Jews, but they didn't know anything. It seems like the shul and a lot of the people living in Kharkov was from those Yidden.
So the time period from when the shul was taken away until it was given back, what was it used for in between?
Oh, so in the 30s, the communists were closing down everything,
right?
And the shul, the big shul, it's a very, very large building. So it was used for a gym, sports. It's called Spartak. And it was like everybody in the city, anybody who's a little bit older than the young generation, they all used it for something. The people came. There's even one Baal Tshuva by us who came there to watch a video, because they had, those days, talking about 30 years ago, it wasn't so. Not everybody had access to everything. It wasn't like now with computers and everything. So he came to watch a movie, and he didn't know that the shul was already given back. And he came. It was Rosh Hashanah going on. And then he became a Baal Tshuva from that.
So they used to be, it was a movie theater also.
They had a room for movies, they had a room for this, a room for that. There was a big sports complex and then all kinds of different things.
So Baruch Hashem was given back.
The whole city was there at one point, in the olden days.
Yeah. So it was given back to us, to the Yidden, and since the Shluchim come there 30-some years ago, what did it turn around?
Yeah. So
Yashakar Mr. Basengo from Muli Kasman. Yeah. No.
Okay.
No, so what are you saying? So what once the Shluchim got back to the building, what happened? What happened to the building? What kind of nissim and the floys?
So when 30 years ago they first got the shul back. They started to do different pools, different projects. The kindergarten opened up over there, and then it moved later on to its own building, and all kinds of things were going on. Then they had to do big renovations, major renovations, because during the time of the sports, they took the Weiber shul, which is a high up, and it has they pulled the floor. They built the floor from one side of the Weiber shul to the other side, and made a humongous floor. So it was a first floor and a second floor, both extremely high ceiling, extremely high, both of them. And there's a big dome on top of the shul. It's humongous. And but then they decided to put the shul back to the original. So they took off the floor, and now it's again back like it was, with the mechitza around for the Weiber shul. And the shul is very. Everyone comes, especially comes to Yom Tov, Rosh Hashanah, and Kippur. Last year, because of Corona, we had Purim in the shul. Usually, we had it in the circus, but we couldn't do it in the circus last year, so it was in the shul only.
Well, I'm sure everybody's anxious to ask this question. What's with the shul right now? What's happening right now with the shul building as we speak?
Baruch Hashem for the Nisim. Right now, the shul was not touched, and hopefully it won't be touched. B'derech HaTeva, we hope that Putin, because he's claiming that he's trying to help the Jews, help from the Nazis, which is all a bunch of baloney, but even for the fact that he's saying that, so the B'derech HaTeva, we can hope that he won't touch that. At least he won't do it b'mezid.
We don't hear any of the reports he hit any chas v'shalom any shuls anyway, did he?
Well, another shul in Kharkov, which we use for the yeshiva building, for the cheder, something went onto the roof, went into the roof, bomb. But Baruch Hashem, no explosion, no fire. I think it happened accidentally because they were bombing the marketplace not far from the yeshiva, and something went flying onto the yeshiva building. Baruch Hashem, no big damage.
So you're saying when they're bombing the marketplace, this is broad daylight with people shopping, they're just throwing bombs?
No. When they bombed it, first of all, I think it was at night, and also now there's no more to the marketplace because it's so dangerous.
So if we could gefilte fish for Shabbos?
For Shabbos, go to Raskin's.
Okay, so that's what happened over the years, and Baruch Hashem, until about a couple of months ago, the place was booming. The shluchim are working hard and being matzliach, v'chulu v'chulu. I must ask you a question. I'm getting different reports the Ukrainian people, Bichlal, is some people have told me that they are nice people. They're very, like you just said, they gave you back your building and all that. Others saying that they're known to be anti-Semites. What is the truth?
I'll tell you, I picked up a sikha from the Rebbe when I first came to New York in 1970, and just
Randomly
opened the sikha. And over there, the Rebbe says that France, even though we have a bad record with France, with Napoleon, we have a lot of things to say against France, and still it changed. What made it change? Because Yidden in the country learned Chassidus, and that made a change. So you can say the same thing about every country. So it so happens to be that in the 28 years that I'm there was maybe like some small incidents. But first of all, one of the ways to judge if there's anti-Semitism or not is to see if it's on a government level. There's definitely no anti-Semitism on a government level. I would say even more. One of the ways to categorize anti-Semitism or any crime is not only if you don't encourage it. If they would encourage it, that would be terrible. But not only that a country doesn't encourage it, but also
they protest it.
They do something about it and don't close their eyes, don't turn a blind eye when something happens. In these kind of things, when it comes to anti-Semitism in Ukraine, they do not turn a blind eye. I would say even more than in America.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it because of Zelenko or whatever?
Not only
because he's Jewish?
Even before he became president. The situation is that there's no encouraging anti-Semitism, and even more so, they'll find anybody who did anything, they'll find them, they'll take care of them.
You know that the same thing is in Russia too, and the same thing they're cracking down on anti-Semitism in Russia.
I can't speak for Russia so much, but I would imagine that I remember a couple of years ago there was some crazy Russian lady that was making a lot of noise. She was going around with TV, with television, and going from one place to the other wherever there's Jews and making
propaganda,
provocation. She was trying to stir up a whole situation. You're not letting me come into the shul because I'm not Jewish, and all kinds of things like that. The end was that they caught up with her, they locked her up, she was making a lot of noise, so they took care of it. Okay, just saying, in fact, I don't know so much about Russia, but this story, it was a big story.
So in the Chalalish, you're saying it wasn't dangerous to walk around as a from a Jew?
No. If it was dangerous, it's just because some people are wild people, you go to their own neighborhood, but nothing to do with any kind of government level anti-Semitism or any kind of organized anti-Semitism. No, I'm not saying that there's no one who would like to do that. There's people who would like to. Exactly. In America, and I can guarantee you can find it in Israel too.
Right.
So that's not it's a lie. It's a lie to say that the reason why he came into Ukraine, invaded Ukraine, is because of this. It's such a foolish lie. It makes no sense whatsoever. It doesn't begin.
So it says we're fart the Chodesh Adar. So I got to ask you a funny question. Funny question is Russians and Ukrainians, they all drink the same much, or when you speak about drinking, are they at the same level, or one drinks more than another?
In each family, it's different. Usually, it's based on who pays for it.
But I understand it's it's like a can of soda. Is it true that just in America you buy a can of soda in the store? That's how they sell vodka in the store?
They used to be like that, not anymore.
Why? What's now?
Now
it's more expensive.
It's a little bit more expensive, not too bad.
So when us Americans, when we want to calm down, we drink a cold drink. You Ukrainians, when you want to calm down, we take a shot of vodka. Is that?
They used to have cans, mamash, and also they used to have like a yogurt. You peel off the top, and you have a cup of mushroom.
Oh, you're going to show.
So that was.
Are there any sane people there?
That's 20 years ago. That's not now.
Okay, now that was just to bring in a light moment. So tell us what happened a couple of weeks ago, and what are you doing here? What's the Vekalofim? The kids are Regalachas. We're ready on 15 minutes. We don't want to do it for too long. So tell me what happened a couple of weeks ago, and why are you here?
Okay, basically, we weren't going to leave, and none of the shluchim were going to leave.
Well, what happened? What happened? Why were you even thinking? Tell us. There's a war.
The war started. The war started on Thursday. Exactly, today's Thursday, 5 weeks ago. On Thursday, 5 o'clock in the morning, the bomb started to explode on the outskirts of Kharkov and other cities as well. And they started to bomb army, government, whatever it is. And actually, we thought that first I never thought they would even do that. But once they were doing that, so we figured it's going to be something to do
Just
with the army. It's going to be quick, and maybe Ukraine would give in and it would put in a government that's pro-Russia. But that did not happen. The Ukrainian people are being very heroic right now. And the president of Ukraine, the Jewish president of Ukraine, is right now considered a big hero in Ukraine. There's even a joke going around. Somebody comes to Israel and says, who's Jewish by you, your father or your mother? He says, no, my president. In any case, so they're fighting them off, and I would say
the Russians weren't expecting this. They thought they're going to fall kind of.
Oh, look, that's what it looks like. I can't never tell what they expected, but that's what it looks like. On the one hand, the Russians are bombarding cities like Kharkov and other cities, mamish, terrible. On the other hand, the army itself is not having a tzlacha. They can't come in, they can't take over. The Ukrainians are pushing them back. So, and they're killing lots of Russian soldiers, lots of Russian tanks are being destroyed. Mamish in that kind of way. And the one way Russia is being devastated in the army, on the level of the army. But when it comes to making tzaras to Ukraine, they're demolishing civilians, they're demolishing buildings, they're killing a lot of people. And it's, I think it's, that's the fact. So when it started, so first we thought, whatever, it'll pass. First 3 days we were even going to shul, like pretty much like normal, even though there was a curfew for the evening. But then after that, the bombs started coming closer, and they started to hit random buildings. So we were, it became clear by Wednesday. It started Thursday. We're there exactly 7 days. Wednesday was the 7th day, and we had to leave. There was a bomb that hit a block away. It pushed it to shoot the house. It felt like it hit something in our house. But we had.
You weren't playing Stratego. It wasn't a joke, huh? Or Battleship. It was a real game, a real story. All right. So you leave Ukraine to push to save your life. What was your route home? First of all, you have somewhere to go to. How about the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian Jews who come to your shul? Where are they going?
So even before we decided to leave, there was already we were already sending out forms for people to fill out that they should be able to get out and go to Israel.
And who's taking them in Israel?
Well, if they're Jewish.
Yeah, but where are they going? Where are they sleeping? I mean,
no. Israel officially provides for people coming and make aliyah.
But they make
a quick aliyah, yeah.
Yeah, there is such a thing.
Yeah,
and then the Israeli government puts them up in the house.
Well, not mamish like that, but it's a mislach. It's not so simple. It's not simple at all, actually.
So there are people floating around now that still don't have a house.
Yeah, people need help. People need attention. The shluchim in Israel are mamish running around helping, but there's a lot of people still on the way. It's a month. It's 5 weeks. There are still plenty of Yidden in Kharkov. There are plenty of Yidden on the way. Some who've settled in Europe. Some European countries are taking in refugees. Officially, America said they'll take it now also, but I didn't see.
So the Yidden who are left still in Kharkov. First of all, Kharkov is still being bombed?
Yeah.
As we speak, they're still being bombed.
As we speak. I just spoke there today to one of the people, the volunteers in the
still being bombed.
And it was the fighting and their bombings and everything going on.
So why your people that you spoke to are on the way to leave, or they're just standing?
Everybody has their cheshbon. Everybody has their own reasons. Most of the reasons usually is that someone in the family is between the age of males that from 18 to 60, the country won't let them leave.
Will not let them leave.
No, 18 to 60, they have to help the army somehow. So 18 to 60, so the rest of the family doesn't even want to leave. They don't want to break up the family.
Yeah.
Some families they do go. The man stays behind, they leave. So there's every kind of situation you can imagine. So old people, they feel that it's going to be just as dangerous to stay or to leave because it's hard, difficult for them.
So how do you keep in touch with your people, the people who, or what could you do for the people that stay behind? How do you keep in touch with them?
Okay, first of all, we're in touch with them. That's a miracle that the communication wasn't knocked out. We thought it's going to be knocked out from day one.
Right.
And now it's already 5 weeks and it was not knocked out. Yeah. So we're in touch with them. We call them WhatsApp and everything else.
What do they need and what are you providing them? Just comfort, just their hearts, what?
Well, every
are they short in food, mamish food also they don't have?
Every situation is different. The shul the kitchen in the shul is working nonstop. The people, they're cooking there.
Where are they getting the food from? It's not like the supply. Is a shortage of supplies or because of the war?
There is, but so if you have, you could buy something in a supermarket, even though supermarkets were hit by bombs, but there's still supermarkets working. It's not simple to go outside. Is not simple, but it's still somehow it's working. It's not everything is cost more and everything is difficult to get. Everything's a very big deal, and of course you have some other sources of people that help out, especially for the shul. The city also is working on such a kind of a mode. They also have groups of volunteers in the city of Kharkov to help people that are in need. But the shul is working at the shul.
But I guess, we're gonna make sure it doesn't fall back. I guess that the best thing, the most help you could provide is just being a Eisen Shema. Just
no. First of all, they bring over food to old people that can't come to shul.
No.
Then the people that I know, for instance, and closer people. So we're really, I'm in touch with them, that I can give them personally, send them money personally. Then there's the general money in the shul that has to do with
upkeep.
it has to do with the
Community
with giving food to all kinds of people that are not specifically personally close to me or to the other shliach. So the shul, as soon as they find out, and one person says about another person, and they find out this guy needs help, that guy needs help. There's constant help being provided for people that need it. And there's also people that are being brought to the shul. Let's say their building was bombed out, they can't stay there anymore, and they come to shul to stay there. And most of the time they leave the country.
What you're describing is there's Pashut Bali Masir Savage there that are helping out.
100%.
Now, I know you very well. I know that Eloi Noviata, Veloy Ben Noviata. But if you have to predict what's going to be, where you're going to be in a year from now, you personally, what's with the shul? What's with your house? I know you left with the Arensel and the guy. If you have to predict what is a year from now going to look like for the community in Kharkov, what would you say? I have a daughter in shlichus in Las Vegas. I'm going to put a bet based on what your prediction is.
Okay. Well, it's very hard to predict because a lot of different things could happen for the good or the opposite. Of course,
you hope for the good.
Somebody will say, "Why are you hoping to go back? Why won't you hope for everybody to go to Eretz Yisrael?" So the truth is, if everybody would go to Eretz Yisrael, that's in Hashem's hands. But as long as there's Yidden there, we have a shlichus to be with them and to grow with them and to bring Mashiach with them, and to end Golus with them.
Right. So
if they're Yidden left and it's not dangerous, really dangerous, and it's possible to go back, so we have to go back. We have to be with them. Could it become not dangerous in a short time? It could. If somehow the Russians leave completely, yeah. If the Russians don't leave completely, so then it's going to be guerrilla war, which could go on for years.
Right.
For years. Now, what's going to happen to Poil? I don't know. Right now, it's still.
But you wouldn't even predict now. You can't even see a. Now, what happens?
They're not reliable, and all the peace talks and everything is not reliable.
Okay.
So something special has to happen for them to stop this war and go away completely. Something big has to happen.
Let me ask you. I just had a blue mess. What's with the old Ukrainian circulation that there are?
Well, I know right now in Hadich with Alter Rebbe, so it's quiet over there. I have somebody that I was just in touch with him yesterday, who lives there.
For all the rest of Chassidim and Uman, what's Uman look like?
Well, I'm not
Where
sure.
is Uman? Where is Uman?
Cherkasky Oblast. It's not being next. Right now, I don't think it's. I don't know. Right now, I think it's not.
I would be surprised if the rest of it don't sneak in for Rosh Hashanah somehow.
Of course.
Uh-huh. So, Rabbi Raices, I don't know when people are going to listen to this. I don't think there's people listening live, but eventually people listen to this. It could be, hopefully by the time they hear it, it's way after the war, and they just want to be good and support you then. But if anybody hears it soon, what would be an email address or a number or a donation place where I'm sure a lot of people would like to help their cause of helping you there? Where would there be a good way to keep in touch?
Okay, I mean, we'll have to post it later because I don't know it offhand. So we'll have to post it later.
All right, I want to be Messiah. First of all, Shekoyach and Kol Kavod, and we all over the years. I know that I personally, all my shiurim I give, I always use during the wartime. We start with a capital tefillin for the Yidden in Russia, for the Yidden in Ukraine, and we have a chaver in Russia. People think that Ukraine is the scary part, but in Russia it's good. The people in Russia also have to have a Yeshua.
Not simple.
So the Eibush should help, and the Eibush should be Shem Matzel. And we should be really Yitzias Mitzrayim, Yitzias Ukraine, Yitzias Russia, right? If you go to
then you right away have to add Yitzias America.
Come with the wall-to-wall carpet. Oh yeah, Shekoyach Rabbi raices.
Amen.
Your stream will stop immediately.